raise a hand, interrupt me. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be upset about that. So my name is Joshua. I went to the Epic Web Dev Conference. If you haven't heard of Epic Web Dev, but you've heard of Remix, it's kind of built upon that. Remix is, if you're already using React Router, you're using Remix. So we're gonna go through one of the workshops that they did, or quickly kind of go through one of these. The workshop was done by Kent C. Dodds, creator of the Epic Web Dev, but so he has these workshops out there. They're open sourced. So if you actually look up the Epic Web Dev workshops, you can find them on GitHub and you can pull down. They have several different kinds. I'm working through some of the ones we didn't go through during that time frame. Again, this is like 5 hours, 8 hours of going through these, with lunch and everything in between. But then also, I'm also working through one for testing because I need to learn more testing. So let me go ahead and share my screen out here. And let's see here. There we are. Hopefully I went to the right screen. I didn't. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's on the right screen. Can everyone see my screen? All right, perfect. All right. So here we're in our what's called our playground. So when you download this and you start it up, it gives you a couple of different areas. When you so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to start up the application. The application is going to run this kind of side area where is kind of your visual, kind of gives you some instructions on what you're trying to do, kind of give you some information. So, and then the other side is you open up another, in my case, another Visual Studio Code, and you go to open up the playground folder. This is literally, it is just that. It's a playground. As we go through this kind of a thing, you'll see, if we went down in here to compound components, you'll see this set to playground, and you can set that to the playground. It'll kind of set your playground up to that. But then if you go, say you went back to some place because you got stuck, or or you wanted to go revisit that, you can come back to these and you can set that to the playground instead. So we're going to start here with our composition here, because who doesn't like composition? Definitely when you're dealing with you're having to pass down layers of components, and really that component only needs a specific piece. Maybe it's an image, maybe it's something else. So in this tutorial kind of, or workshop, they give you this little koala. His name's Cody. Cody's really cute, kind of a koala. But he needs some things. He kind of helps you understand what's going on and what's being requested. So the very first thing is he kind of asks or tells you, hey, we need to make the dev accept a React node prop called avatar instead of the whole user prop, because really it just needs the image. And so up here, we're going to make that accept that we're going to take this user out of here, and we're just going to make it accept an avatar. We're actually going to jump down because we want to do it down here. Quick, there we go. There's our user. So this is supposed to take an avatar, and that user, again, we're using TypeScript here, so bear with me. I have a little bit harder time with that one. But this avatar, really what it is it's this. And this is just an image, right? So we're just going to go ahead and put in our avatar. And then that kind of gives that full control back over to the user. So now we can actually pass in avatar. And we can say that is equal to our image. So now we can see that this is actually hasn't changed or anything. That needs to be a React node. Let's update that import there. That's really a type. So now we've accepted that avatar state, and we can just pass that in, and we're going to render that instead of the whole image. So literally, that way we can add in whatever we need to this, and we're not going to really change how the code lays out. We're giving that customization to the end user in these. But again, we're not having to pass down through the application down to our nav, down to bury the state that it's only using a little bit of data from our main object here. So there we have that refreshed, and you can see nothing has changed here. The next thing Cody is saying we need to do is make a main the main object accept a React node called sidebar and content instead of its props, and it accepts right now. So currently it accepts sports list, selected sports, sport, and then we have a function there for that. So they just want us to do the sidebar and content. So let's kind of go down here to our main. We're going to go ahead and remove these props in favor of the sidebar and content props. So as we just work through these, we can see that what we're trying to do here. So it allows us to give that control back to the user, make it a little bit faster, and not have to pass down so much data. So here's our sidebar. So if we go back up here and we say sidebar is equal to that, and then our details is our main content here. Oops. Don't you love it when everything, there we go. And then we have this as our content. Come on. Content is equal to there. Now the selected set selected sport, we don't even need to pass that in there because that set selected sport is up here in our own area. And then the sidebar, got to make sure we name those correctly there. Then we can just pass in the sidebar there and our content. This really comes in handy when we're trying to pass in some of the bigger items, or even just you've got a really big application here, and all this main function, all it does is it controls the layout. It doesn't really show anything. It doesn't display any data. All that data is handled up here in the main application, but we need to do something with that the content and display it in some way. So we're controlling that display through there, putting it into a main or whatever, instead of just listing it all out. And so we kind of give that control back there. And sidebar, this is going to be content, and that's also a React node. All right, and then we can continue on going down through this, but I believe you guys get that kind of a gist of what's going on there. Some of the cool things about these workshops is down here. You see this little 18 number. This is actually 18 other people that are connected through the Discord that are actually currently using this same application or are currently working on this. So you kind of get to see these things. So looks like Quincy Dodds is currently working on it within the React hooks in number 5. And because it is all open source, he does actually update during the workshop. He actually updated a typo someone found during the workshop, which was really cool. Oh, sorry. Is that better? I know someone asked for the code base to be zoomed up a little bit more. So you can kind of see that other people are working on it. And so, again, that's just one of the really nice things. They do have a Discord channel as well for the Epic Web Dev. So then let's go on to, let me just jump over here real quick. And I was looking at, let's see here. Let's see here when you're finished with the composition. So we did go into the compound components. So the compound components, you can kind of see as these, we're going to go ahead and set that to the playground. Kind of gives you some information here on it. So let's, but it also tells you, technically the use hook is currently in the Canary version. This is going to be in React 19. So he's also introducing these things that are going to be kind of up and new. He just released, Quincy Dodds just released a video on all the new features of React 19, which helps out a lot of the different people. Because what is used, how do you use it? But it's actually kind of really powerful in what you're doing. Let's see here. All right, so if we jump in here, let's see here, toggle. Here's our toggle. So they want us to create a toggle context where context here. Sorry, 1 second here. Sorry, there it is. All right, so compound components solution. Okay, so in here, they kind of, so the first thing we need to do is type is going to equal to our toggle value. Woo! That's a double equal. Toggle. If only I could type today. Toggle value. And then we're going to set that to on is a Boolean, toggle void. Close that out. All right. And then the next thing we need is we need that toggle context. We don't need React there because it inherently actually brings in that. So we just need our create context up here from React. Toggle, why is toggle value? There we go. All right. And then, so the default value should be null. The typing of the context value should be on Boolean. There we go. Because we must initialize it to null, you need to union that with null, which is what we're doing there. So they kind of give you some information and some help to be able to work through these. And then let's see here. So our next thing is remove this and instead return toggle context provider where the value is an object and has an on and toggle on it. Rendered children within the provider. So what they're looking for here, we're just gonna, like I said, we're gonna kind of work through these a little bit quicker. It's kind of just literally this. We have our toggle provider with our on and our toggle kind of values for that. And then, so that as we go through this, we can see instead of using the constant value, we'll need to get that from use toggle context. So instead of this constant on is equal to false, we want to get it from this provider. So we can use the use context, or use, not use context. So there we go. We have our use toggle context. Bang is a really cool operator. It basically says that can be null. So it basically kind of checks on that for us. And then we have our nice little whether or not we're displaying the children or not. So now we can go ahead and get rid of those notes. We'll go ahead and get rid of those. It doesn't know what to do with the use, but again, we can pull that into our up here into our import from React, and there we go. All right, so do the same thing that we just did on the toggle on component. So here we're going to use that same. We're going to basically check this and make sure that it's on or off, and get that value from there. And in this case, we're going to say on is null, or we're going to pass in the children. So these are help build out our context there for that, or use that context. All right, and then down to our last note here. It says get the on and toggle from our toggle context with use. So now what we want to do is, again, kind of use this functionality there. And again, we have that bang there so that we can say that this can be null, that there is a possibility of it being null. And so now we don't need the toggle here because we're destructuring that from our toggle context. And then now on the on click toggle, and then we should just be able to go ahead and, oh, nope, he has props there. Yeah, we should be all good to go. Let's see here. So we got that going. Oh, I need to jump up here into the app. Yep. So now we need to go up here into our app here. Why is that not? Let's see here. Why isn't it rendering? So all of our tests are passing. So that's kind of what our button is supposed to be showing here. The button is on, the button is off. There it is. That's the solution. So you can see that. But for some reason, this page is not wanting to load correctly. You can actually see the difference between what you have and what they have. Is it just not saved? Let's see here. Why did this one decide to break? That is an interesting one. This should, according to everything here, should be working just fine. But so basically this is how you would be using that use context and creating that compound component. And if you actually look at the application, we just have a toggle on, toggle off, and then we have our toggle button here. And this just kind of tells that how that works. And toggle would be our context, contain our context provider there. That is interesting. Really wondering why that one didn't update there. Um, hmm, all right. Well, let's go ahead and just move on to the next one. Some of these will actually have videos embedded in them from Quincy Dodds. You do have to pay for the video, or basically pay for that to be able to get that content um, to move on up. And then you can also even have validation in these compound components uh, to help you to work through those. Uh, which, oh, see, there we go. Oh no, that's the current one. So this is what it what it should have ended up being. Um, I'm betting I know why now. So as we go through this, I may make some mistakes. So the next one we looked over was slots. And if you haven't used slots or seen what slots are, so if we go into the ability here, so we have a checkbox group, so we have a label, and then we have our different checkboxes here, where we can even select our own pet. And so essentially we have a slot equals description, so some kind of a description there for it. And we actually see these implementations in where did he put that information? I know Material UI is currently using slots, and you'll see other items that are currently using the slots here. So it allows you to kind of be a little bit more. What are we wanting to show here, or what is the giving more control basically back to the consumer of your buttons. Um, so we should be good in our playground. There we are. Let's see here. There we are. All right. So we're just going to go ahead and close these ones for now. And then let's see here. Let's go on and open up that one. Div toggle label for party mode. Okay. He also tells you, I should have looked at this first. He also says that these are the relevant files that you're going to be needing to use. Is our app TSX, our slots TSX, and our text field. And if you click on that, it opens it up right there inside of your playground. So we can actually open up all those files. Slots, and there we go. So now we have all of our items open. And so here in our slots, it says create a slots type that is just an object of objects. So in order to do that, we need our type here. So we're going to go ahead and import that. That allows us to be able to use that. And then, so we can go ahead and get rid of that one. Types, heck, he even tells you what to type there. So now what we need to do is go ahead and create a slot context with the type and default to it to an empty object. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And whoop. Come on. There we go. All right, so there we go. We've got our create context there, and we're gonna go again. We're gonna use that use. So we're just gonna go ahead and import those right there. Now we want to create basically we need to create something that allows us to use the slot props, and we're going to give it the what what type of prop that is. So we're going to create a function here that's going to return back some properties, right? There we go. Come on. So this is going to be our own personal hook. And so as you can see, I'm actually using some of the AI tools there. And we can kind of see that, hey, we want to use slots, use the slot context. And then we're going to get we have our constant slot props, which is our slot, and then as props. Or he does even go a little bit further into this. And we can actually do something really cool. And now we're going to make that a 2-liner. So we're going to take those slots and slot, or add our slot, and then add all those as properties, and just return that whole thing. All right, and so that merges all of those together for us. And then we can go down to our functions here, and we can use this now. So we can say on this props dot, or props equals use slot props label. Same thing with here. We can say props dot, or is it equal to the use slot props input. And now we have that available for us to be able to use, and we can get rid of our notes. So we're actually done with this file. Nice, quick, and easy. And then if we go over to our text field here, we can see that we need to do some things here. So this is a really cool thing. It basically checks to see if that's a generated ID. So we're going to leave that there. And then what we want to do is here, we want to use, we have it, our const, we have our properties that we want our slots to contain here, right? So we have our slots, and that's going to equal a property of label, and that's going to be it's already populating it for me. HTML for ID, and then we also have our input with just the ID in there. All right, and so that actually gets rid of, I believe it's this one and this one. And then what we want to redo now is we want to wrap this in our slot context provider with the value set to the slots object. So here, what we just need to do is go children. We're going to go ahead and wrap that around our braces there. You know what? We'll just grab this. Boom. All right. So that then gives us our slot context provider, where we can now just, whatever the children are, we can actually add those slots to them. There we go. And we're missing our slots context. There we are. Hate when that happens. There we go. So now we've got our use ID, which is coming from React, and then our slot context there for us. So now we can build that out, and everything still looks the same, even though our app is a little bit different. So now I can go down here and I can say, well, I want that label to actually be I want it to say, there we go. And again, this is not, toggle still working. The text field is having some issues there. Yep. 1 second here. Why is that one? Oh, I believe I was having these same issues there. For some reason, this does not want to work. But if we, it's one of those days. So I believe even now our toggle might. Lots, text fields. That's not good. This should be the showing the playground here. I apologize about this. I'm wondering why it's not pulling that up correctly. Hey, well, I guess we'll just be doing the code and not doing the showing off the my portion of it today. So we'll go ahead and just close that out. So then in our next, well, I do need that now that I remember because that controls our playground. All right. So our next one that we went through there was a props I believe was the props collections and get was a props collections and getters. So they've now we're kind of moving away from this and going towards some being able to we want to make sure it's accessible. That's really what this one comes down to, is our accessibility. And they kind of give you kind of like a, hey, this is what we're looking to do. And they actually tell you a couple of real world projects. This is the one I wanted to show you. So let me bring that back over here. So if we actually look here, downshift and conforms are using the prop getters. So this is kind of what it does. It just kind of creates those props for you, or a collection of those, and then we can actually use that to counter within our application. And I believe I want to say Ryan Florence calls them prop spreaders, or he has a different name for them, or whatever. It was kind of funny listening to them talk about it and how they've decided to what they've named, each personally have named them. Oh, okay. Type of a thing. So inside of this one, all right. Let's go down to prop getters. So again, we're going to go ahead and go into the prop collections here. And so we're going to look at those files. So we're only going to look at the toggle one here. There we are. All right. So on this one, we're going to return just the properties that we need here. So we're going to return on our toggle and our toggle props. So these toggle props are things that we're going to want to be on all of them. So kind of, again, we're looking for accessibility. So we're looking at the ARIA checked, which is on. And then we definitely need our on click. These are going to be unique to all of them, and how they run, kind of thing. And so that allows us then to have this button that we're just going to give it the toggler. So this button, if it would update correctly, is actually controlling that toggle switch. Whereas I can also toggle the toggle here. So, because they have that same toggler props there, kind of a thing. And so then if we go on to our next one here of the prop getters, so now we have our prop getters. So maybe we don't want, I love it when it doesn't work the way, we don't want both of them to control it, but we want to be able to display that information either way. So on this one, I believe, again, we're only messing with the, oh, no, we're messing, open all the files here. So we're going to mess with this one and then also our toggle as well. So we're going to start right here in our toggle. And so for this one, they want a function to be able to get the toggler props that it, and then also allow it to accept certain things. So here, again, we're looking for the ARIA and the on click and additional props. So we're going to go ahead and create that function right there. So now we have our toggler props, which is a type of properties. We're going to spread in our current props. We're going to make sure we have a React component props of a button on click, and then our normal props. And then we're just going to return those back. So call all, we can call on click and toggle, and then any of our other additional properties. And then we can, instead of returning back our toggler props there, we just return our toggle props. And I think I'm missing a curly brace. There we go. So now we're returning all of that, or returning all of that information there that we need. And then inside of our app, gotta make sure I'm in the right area here. So we can go ahead and get rid of this. And then we're going to destructure our toggler props function from our use toggle. So here we're going to say on and get toggler props from use toggle. Okay, and now we can go and say, okay, that's good. And then on this one, we want to do our ARIA label custom. There we are. So now if we actually look at, I wish that would open up quickly. If we actually look at this, we can see that those control it. So it does the same things, but we have some different information going in there. So, this is a custom prop for the ARIA label if we were to look at that. So if we go into our inspect, we can see that the ARIA label here is a custom prop versus this one, which is a toggle, or, if it's been checked to false, and those things are going to help us to allow that to go through. And that's probably why this is not working. That's down here in the toggle. No, that's right. Call all. I see what's on this one is going on. We don't have our function to call all of our properties there. So there we go. So now we're using a for each to call all of those different functions with our function arguments, just to kind of give this. Really wish this would work. That's going to be quite annoying here. But that's not. even though it's not updating it is what it's not doing. All right. So then the next one we went through, we kind of jumped around on these, and so we didn't actually complete them all. Again, this is a limited time type thing, trying to get through them all. Compound components, slots, prop getters, and so then we have our state reducer pattern. So here we're going into our state and being able to use this state in a more effective way, and with our hooks. So we're going to go ahead and set that to the playground. Let's go ahead and go through the intro. You know, during the life of a reusable component, which is, we can see that there's a bunch of different states, and this is kind of using that reducer kind of idea from Redux. But we're doing some other things with it as well. We have more control over that. He does list out a project that is using it, which again is Downshift. So if we look at that state reducer, we've got our toggle button again that we're trying to do. And what we want to do is, oh, we've clicked that way too much type thing. And so we want to reset it. So it's giving us a count, but it's also allowing us to say, oh, you've only clicked this 3 times. You can't click it more than 3 times. Versus right now, you can, of course, that one works. Versus, so we're kind of keeping that same look there. 1 second here. No. Let's see here. Let's go and open up those files here. So open up all our files here for our toggle. Hey, look, we have them open already. There we are. Okay, so not the problem. We want the solution. My goodness. Okay, so here they want us to create a reducer function inside of our use toggle property. So here we're going to go ahead and use that reducer, and it's going to take a state action and an action, and there we go. Just to get through that real quickly, like just making sure we think we need. Here, let's do it this way. We have our reducer right there. So we're handling that state in such a manner that it allows us to better handle it. There we go. Okay. And then I think that's all we need on that one. And then if we look here at our toggle, he's going to give us some more instructions. Cody is going to give us some more instructions. You know, we need a new prop on here called reducer that defaults to toggle reducer. So we have our okay. We have, let's right there. So here on our after our initial state, we're going to go ahead and add in our reducer, and then sorry, I'm just going. So instead of passing the toggle reducer here, we're going to pass the reducer that's provided as an option, and that's it. Don't forget to check that the next step kind of thing. So we're giving some information, and hey, be careful about that air. So now, instead of passing in that toggle reducer, this is so that they can actually have their own state if they wanted to create our own reducer, or give that kind of control back to that end user, or to the end consumer, really. And there we go. Now if I go back here to our reducer, and if click too much, we're going to say instead of 4, that's going to be 10. If it's less than or equal to 10, of course that one's not working. We can basically reset this however we would like it, and so that we can have our own states, and we can, maybe we want to give them that control of, if they've done something else, then let's go ahead and do that, or whatever. We can give that control back to our consumers of our different items, to where we're following that solid state, or the solid principles. So this kind of brings it down to help give back control to them, but also we do have that basic control. Let's see here. Is there any questions so far? No? Let's see here. So I know we only have about 10 minutes left here. And I've pretty much have gone through these really quickly. You can find all of the, let's see here. Let me pull this up here. One second. I'm just should have had this pulled up before, but of course I'm not signed in. There we are. We'll go up here to this one. So you can find all of this stuff. Like I said, it's completely open sourced. So if we just go back here to a nice little background here. So here's all of our epicweb.dev stuff, made by them. And you can find that they have, React fundamentals, full stack foundations, the Epic stack in and of itself. This is a remix. It's a full stack app starter. So if you're starting up a new application, you want to check out that Epic stack. It's very opinionated, so he brings in a lot of different things. And then, maybe we need to look at our React performance. We want to make our apps fast, and you want to learn how to do that. You can look at that workshop. It uses React Suspense. Then we have React Performance. Just all of these different workshops that he allows, or he's putting out. He open sources them. So if you find a bug, he'll even take a look at that bug, and you can make commits, and you can have it in there in the workshop there. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for you guys today.
Thank you, Josh. Anybody have any questions for him?
Yeah, thank you, Josh. You think you could post a link to this repo in the chat, or did you already do that?
Let's see here. Yeah, I can definitely post that here into this chat. Manfi. There's the one that shows all the list of all of their current repos. Like I said, I'm actually going through this one right now, this testing fundamentals, just because I need to learn a little bit more testing. I'll probably be going through some other things. If you haven't checked out the Epic Web Dev Conference, they do have all of their talks online now. But I believe they're actually through, I think you have to go through the Epic Web, not their discussions, my goodness. Epic Web.dev. So you can pay for the pro workshops there. Events. Why is the events button not working? There we go. So these are some of the live events and workshops that they did. Or really it's the talks given back here that they've done. So Pixel Perfect from Figma to Tailwind, talking about how, like, hey, you're going from Figma or whatever, check out Tailwind to bring that in. Let's see here. Here we go. Here's our recordings. So they had a bunch of different recordings. So what makes the web epic, from Kinsey Dodds. One of the great talks that I saw on there, which I thought would be really nice, was let's see here, let's see, the recipe for local first. And that's basically kind of putting that data that the user needs right there, so there isn't really a loading time. Alex Anderson he was working on an app that for himself, where he needed to be, it was a shopping app to help him buy the recipes that he needed. But when he got into the store, everything broke and he had to go outside, and then he couldn't, be using his app inside except for to see what was there, because the data wasn't local. And so he looked into the local first, making it to where he can use it wherever he is, whether he has internet or not, which was a really cool idea. And also because of my client and the kind of where they're at, sometimes seemed like it would very much help. And so I was able to talk with Alex and get some information. And hopefully we can see a little bit more of these local first apps, because not everywhere does have internet. So, but yeah, thank you.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Yeah.
I'll post this into the chat as well for people if they want to take a look at them.
Thanks again, Josh. We appreciate it. And thanks everybody for joining us.
Yes, thank you, Josh.
Thanks for these resources. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.